Brothers and sisters and soul family all over the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's energy forecast, being that of the full moon, winter solstice, and the new assigned mission. So, welcoming you into this transmission. I am Geeia Ariati. I am the assigned oracle for the 144 and beyond. I am of sound heart and sound mind. I am here to be a truth speaker, a channel, and a conduit for the greater mission of consciousness on the planet, to be aligned with the highest source frequency and directive, and to ensure that the information that I share is accurate, true, and correct in this moment, at this point in time, knowing that each and every one of us is creating this reality, and we are the ones that change this reality with our thoughts, feelings, and our energetic contribution. So as you are joining into this space, please allow your energetic contribution to be here, to be present, to allow the alchemy of your heart, your mind, your soul to be witnessed by joining in union with me and every other individual being that receives this, and those that are receiving in the quantum field, by taking some time to breathe into your heart space. So breathing in now to your heart, exhaling out, breathing in, exhaling out, breathing in, exhaling out. It is a pleasure to be back online. If you've been wondering where I have been, I received a 1-week sensory ban from YouTube for violating their community standards for some nudity. Artwork, and in that there was a strike placed on my YouTube channel, so it will take a little bit of time to realign, recalibrate, and bring in the information. And we know that when these things happen, it is an opportunity to go, okay, what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I need to be looking at to recalibrate my life? If there is a block coming up and there is something that is not in complete flow, is this a gifted hold? Is this a time and space to reevaluate, realign, and recalibrate? And that is exactly what this forecast is about. It's explaining what you have been moving through, whether or not you have conscious awareness around it or not, and what is coming into the completion as we go into the new life, the new assignments, and the new roles that have been assigned to the 144. So in Nayatari, ekiariato tukoyanai, eshetakariato korea, and the atokoyani, ni ikiari, eshetakariato takayana, orkote na haisatai ikiari utokoyana. So what we have just moved through has been an intense amount of recalibration. There has been multiple choice point moments in the last 6 weeks that have come up time after time after time to ensure that the individuals that are on the next mission and assignment are in full sacred yes to their role, to their mission. No distractions, no allowing for the human interactions to cause any disruption, and to allow for a solid foundation moving forward, a tighter knit community, and for these pure creations to come through. And so over the last 6 weeks, there has been different choice point moments where you have been tested, offered, and given an opportunity to say, what is it that you're choosing? Are you here to fulfill your cosmic mission? Are you here to be of galactic service? Are you actually going to walk the path of your soul? And in this time frame, there are some that have chosen over and over and over again, and there are some that have not chosen at all, and there are some that have been a little wavering at different points, and their assignment will directly express exactly what that is in their unwavering, and yet to be fully committed to the path ahead and to release all constructs of human conditioning to be able to be that role. So as each of you have moved through this 6-week initiation phase, there has been a point of who's choosing and who isn't. And so there has been a watching and waiting. Now, I did a forecast video around this, and it was more negatively geared at being watched and watching and waiting from that of the agenda of the anti-consciousness. But remembering, with everything that I speak to, if I'm speaking to it from a lens of a unconscious or separation point, there's also an equally connected and unified point of expression. And this is something for our human interpretation that can take a little bit of time and acknowledgement and reminding over and over and over again that if it's being spoken to here, it also exists here, and then we start to transcend and we are able to be more unified in all that we do. So what has occurred is that there was a watching and waiting of all of the different councils, the different higher self beings, your higher monadic expression, and everyone else that is creating this experience from the lens of the above, and watching and waiting. Creating and connecting data points, covering and looking at literally logistically connecting and looking at how often do you step off your path, how often is it that you get distracted by your wounds, how much does your psyche influence your mission, how much does it affect the people around you, and where are you really at, so that we can assign the correct role to your consciousness level. So what you've moved through has been this completing out cycles, recognizing, getting really clear, what am I choosing? What matrix paradigms do I have to break down and deconstruct? Where do I need to reclaim my power? Where is it that I'm still being distorted with satanic or demonic influence in relation to the 7 deadly sins of humanity? Where is it that I get pulled into these and I forget my connection to source, or I allow for myself to be influenced and then I spiral out of control? And it's been all right, this person, basically like a job interview, you've been in an interview process for the last 6 weeks at these different points, and it came to a point of, okay, now we're aware of who's here, what they're doing, what they're choosing, and the roles have been effectively chosen by each and every one of you. You chose your role. So if you are no longer a part of the next mission and the assignment, that's because you just didn't choose. And that is something that you have to sit with and get really clear around your own personal journey. What is it that your own personal journey and role is? If you are unable to stay focused on your mission and your goal for humanity, then you chose service to self. And that's absolutely okay. Use that service to self to really serve self, so that if your mission's important, that you can serve self, come into divine union, and step into your assignments in the future coming times. Taking a deep breath, exhaling out. That brings up a lot of charge. It hurts when you recognize that you've been dropped from a mission. It hurts when you are fired from a position. It hurts when you recognize that your truest sacred heart's desire is to be of contribution, and you got lost in the human story once again. And not everyone has the capacity at this point to be so devoted, to show up every moment over and over and over and be the full sacred yes, I'm here for it all, I don't care what I have to let go of. But you have that choice in any moment to go, actually, my source mission, my source connection, self-realization is the most important thing to me in my life, and I'm willing to give every other construct, belief, trauma, separation point up and let go of what I thought was true and real. And that is up to you. So what has taken place is a complete recalibration or realignment of the mission. Many of the roles that were assigned have been either completely deconstructed and recalibrated into a new role, or merged with an existing role, so that an individual can take that on. Because at the moment we have what you could consider less ground crew than what we had planned. There are quite a lot of individuals that are not choosing, and that's absolutely okay. It means that the ones that are choosing are moving through intense initiations. There are extreme levels of Christ consciousness, dragon activations, heart opening, throat activating, and DNA channel upgrading, so circuitry information, which is basically where your bandwidth expands to a higher state of consciousness and receivership. So your bandwidth might have been at this point and it's suddenly expanded to this, and you're like, whoa, I feel high, my frequency is overwhelming, my heart's going through all of these transitions. It's because you've chosen to actually evolve beyond your role. You've chosen to evolve beyond your human interpretations and to start to take on more responsibility, to remember more of who you are. And what happens is an extremely quick and fast energetic realignment. That energy has to realign within you so that you can be this role. So that's what a lot of people have been experiencing from a physical standpoint. You are experiencing a lot of heart opening. You might be getting a lot more DMT, Kundalini through your body, a lot of sacral activation. The chi has been online. So we're talking a lot of fire, but actually a lot of heightened states of awareness. A lot of, is this real? Am I in this? This is a bit surreal moments. If you have decided to choose to evolve and stay in your sacred commitments. Now, for those that have chosen the dissension path, I do not have any messages for you other than stay in your own inner healing, focus on yourself, temporarily let go of any idea of being of service, because at this point in time, your service is better on self. As you continue to cultivate that connection with yourself, then you become a more reliable teammate and a team player. But if your service to self is overriding your ability to be unified and to see self and other simultaneously, or to recognize that, then it actually becomes very detrimental to the other beings. And if that's uncomfortable for you to hear, then sit with the discomfort of your actions and how they affect the fabric of creation, and how your self-service can be quite harmful. And that is a part of being self-responsible, self-realized, and intentional with every thought, feeling, and expression that you have. All right. So today being that of the full moon and the winter solstice here in the southern hemisphere, being that of, I was in Australia, I am now in Bali, and the winter solstice is a representation of a closing out of the winter phases, the reflective phases, the inner work, the transformation, and there's starting to be more light, new life, and opening into expansion. Now, we have cycles like this every day, every moon, you could look at these different cycles at different points, but the meaning that they have is what we give them. So because we have a collective with a portal of information of consciousness that celebrate the winter and the summer solstice, pending where you are, in which part of the world will depend on what energy portal you would like to open to. The energy portal of the winter solstice, specifically in the southern hemisphere, gives this opportunity in relation to what is energetically in the quantum field aligning to this new mission, this new role, this this solidification of stepping into the new light of who you are and what you're offering. And in that, it's asking yourself some of the questions around what is my new energy expression that I'm cultivating? What are the archetypes that I am experiencing at the moment? And what is my focus? How are we going to really support the evolution of consciousness if you don't know what you're focusing your conscious awareness on? What part of your chakra systems are requiring cultivation? Which areas are blocked? What wounding keeps repeating itself that you're unable to get to the bottom of? And where does that sit in your body and your psyche? What is the experience that you keep replaying out in your outer expression that is asking you to step beyond that into the new life and the new opportunity of what that is in a new representation of consciousness? And so as you sit with these self-reflective questions, they are with the intention of this moon, with the intention of this creation, going into a point of, I am closing this out in completion. What needs to be closed out in completion for my new role? What needs to be closed out for my new role? Now, as you're receiving this, how much more energy have you influxed? What is it that you've taken on? What is it that you're aware of when you sit in this meditative state? And have you embodied and onboarded more information that you're requiring to alchemize, to integrate, and to allow the newness to settle and to act from that? How do you start to play with your new gifts and your new abilities and what is being called forth in how to serve them for yourself and others? And all of this recalibration has its effect on the earth. And so as we've gone through a complete assignment role, so the quantum field, the geometric shape of the soul mission, and that which was, has actually changed its geometric patterning so that each pillar has a new pillar of light. And this pillar of, like, there's a roll here, there's a roll here, there's a roll here, and it's creating this geometric shape, is that this shape is now a fabric of solidification. It is quite strong in its geometric patterning. The only thing is that those pillar points, which is beings or people, are solidifying their light. So their strength in that might be a little bit wavering. So the energy might move a little bit in between these points. But that structure, just like I'm thinking Star of David, but I know it's not. It's completely gone from my brain's hemisphere right now. My brain's hemisphere, the wholeness of my hemisphere of my brain. Is that those points of geometry are not quite in their solid anchored state. They're there, they're anchored, but they are not solid pillars of light. So this is about the phase of becoming the solid pillar of light of the frequency that you've just onboarded. You've just had a massive DNA upgrade. You've just had so much information come through. How do I become solid in this new influx of being? And what does this new energy provide me? What is it in gifts, abilities, and talents that has opened me up to more information about myself? Now, as this completion takes place, to release, it's really letting go of what has been. So this is letting go of your karmic footprint. This is letting go of your attachments to the old soul family, the old soul group, the old mission, letting go of the attachment to your old creations, your old ideas. So anything that has been in the past of what was reality, to go, actually, that construct doesn't fit my now reality. I can see that I'm attached to it. I can see it's limiting me. It's actually not serving, and it's time for me to let it go, to collapse that programming and that matrix right down to the earth, to let it completely dissolve so that you have a clean slate. So this is clean slate to really anchor in that light. The light will waver within yourself until you let go of that holding, that energetic holding. And this for some of us is from the very beginning of creation. It could be this incarnation, those roles, those beings that you're like, I'm going to be this for you and you can be this for me. So this is a very much this incarnation cycle. Hey, buddy, I know that we had this desire and this idea that I would be the person that would help open your heart, and you would remind me of how powerful it is to be held in the masculine, and to reclaim that aspect of myself. But I can see that you're not choosing, or I'm not choosing, and now I need to destroy this contract, this oath vow, this agreement, because it's binding us into a push and pull dynamic that is wavering my strong pillar of light, so I can't actually step into the fullness of what I am choosing now with these new energy structures. So this incarnation, who, family, relationships, parents of your children, what is it? Who are they? What are those things that you put into your soul's blueprint that needs to be released? It's not even renegotiated. It's actually like, it's outdated. It's very outdated. And this new structure and this new mission cannot have that energy. It cannot have that energy, and if you're not willing to release it, you will actually step out of the structure and a new frequency will come in. Or they will realign it in a way where someone in the multidimensional will hold your pillar that has no physical representation, so it's a strong pillar of light and consciousness as we move forward and we drop our numbers more and more and more. Big breath in. Big exhale out. Big breath in. Big exhale out. Big breath in. Big exhale out. Now, what does this mean when you let go of the karmic and the past mission and the incarnation roles of this reality? We're starting from the clean slate. New blueprints, new mission, new roles, new people. New people in your life that you have never journeyed Earth with. New beings in your life that you may have a galactic or a cosmic connection with, but you've only had points of passing in the quantum experience. So clean slate, no karmic history, no distortion points. This is an important part, as what has been has not worked, and there is a new necessity to go, okay, what if we come into the pure creation energy where there's no history, there's no memory, and we're creating the experience from this now. So twin flames will be dissolving. Oh, I know. You're so attached to that story, aren't you? See, there we go. Attachment. What is that karmic attachment that you have? I need to be with my twin flame. I need to be that. No, you actually don't. What you need to do is you need to release yourself from the energetic merging in the quantum field. Let that person be that person, you be this person, and continue on your path. No one makes you whole with God. Just you. You already are that. Everything else is an illusion. Everything else is a story. So releasing the twin flame narrative, that is a part of the clean slate forward. Releasing the bindings of the idea that I am here to be this. Letting go of that idea. If you thought you're here to be a specific role, creator, or a being, let that go, because you're not here for the same thing that you first were here for. So if you have that attachment, it's going to really cause instability in your life, and it will create a sense of turbulence as you are being asked to let go of that narrative. The other aspects are divine union relationships. We're letting go temporarily of the Trinity or the sacred union. So that was the transcendent relationships. They're the ones that come in to go accelerate the frequency so you can transcend human identity. There is just not enough purity of consciousness on the earth currently that allows for the Trinity to stay in maintenance, and it can only be held for a certain period of time, and then it's to move on, and it's only to influx enough frequency that you come into the self-realization point. That's what a sacred union is. It's a self-realization trinity, so 3 pillars to the self, to see the self through the number 3 of a sacred union that transcends this paradigm, which is built on structures of 3 dimensions, right? So the sacred union is dissolving from the mission at the moment, so there will be no sacred union partnerships moving forward until there is a higher evolved point of consciousness again that can allow those to come in. So any of those thought forms around relationships of 3, they are not of service. We are moving back to divine union counterparts, divine union connections, and the divine union connections are between man and woman, not same sex. Now this is a little bit confusing. It's because of the energy compositions that have been created between the male and the female bodies, the DNA structures. Now if you are someone who is interested in the same sex, this is not saying that your relationship isn't important, because it is. You can be in union with anyone, but when we're talking about the highest expression of divine union from coding, unless you are a woman with another woman and one of you holds the masculine templating, you can't hold that signature. Now that is something that happens. Some women are holding masculine templating. I held a lot of masculine templating and have gifted all of that back to the men of this reality, and also to the earth and to the ether and the Alexander Library. If you haven't received the Alexander Library transmission, I highly recommend you go and receive what codes and frequencies are there for you. And that this dynamic of male-female counterparts is coming back in as a strong sense of movement forward, because at the moment, with the deconstruction of the distortions that we're sitting there with the matriarchy and the patriarchy that you've just moved through in the last 6 to 8 weeks of purifying and reclaiming the purity of your essence with the releasing of the distortions of these dynamics of man and woman, is that the purity consciousness is allowing for a new divine union expression to come through with no karmic footprint. So if you have a karmic connection with someone, it is going to be extremely hard for you to have a divine union with them, because you have too much history, and unless you are 2 purified beings, that is not going to work. So let go of the karmic past. Anyone who has been or still could possibly be on your timeline forward, whilst there's a karmic distortion, whilst you have karmic history and you're both not sitting in purification, release it, let it go. It will be what it will be. Open yourself up to a new possibility of a supportive connection forward. All right, another breath in and exhaling out. Breathing in, exhaling out. So what is the new mission, the new assignment? What is it that we are focusing on at the moment as a collective whole? Knowing that each and every one of you have your own individual soul missions, you have your own soul group missions, but as a collective, what is it that we are currently focusing on? And that is the anchoring of the purity consciousness. So the purity consciousness connects into a timeline that has only recently been reactivated and reopened up to, which is the beginning of ancient Greece. Before it was known as ancient Greece, before it was known as Rome, it has a specific name that continues to be elusive to my own brain. It was a time after the cleansing of ancient Egypt and the fall of Akhenaten, is there was a time that opened. So at the fall of Akhenaten, there was a split. So we have just had a split. We are now in the split point. So what happened with a lot of the gods, the goddesses, and the consciousness fell and they descended. And that was when the underworld was created. And so there were people that sold their soul to the devil to be in power. There are very specific beings that did that, and you can go through ancient history and have a look at some of these individuals. And I will not claim to speak any of them, but there are specific individuals that are written in relation to the underworld, and you can research that have descended down, effectively repeating history. And those that ascended actually moved into, so this separation, this purification of the fall of ancient Egypt, we are in a recreation point. And so we're accessing the purity consciousness that has been hidden from history that was cultivated in this time. And so this purity consciousness has a portal that is open at the moment called the Christos portal. And this Christos portal, you can spend time in connecting into your Christos coding, connecting into this pure, white, beautiful frequency. It was open this morning, and there was a group of angelic Christos beings from the 11th and 12th dimension that came through as new souls to assist this new mission. So this new mission allows for this Christos energy to come down. So if you are have felt a connection to Christ, or you have known that you have Christ codes but you haven't activated them, if you are a Christos being, it will be a part of your gifting and initiations. You'll start to work with this Christos energy, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, and different angelics from the Elohim, and from the seraphim dragon in that Christos energy. And the cherubim is also one up there, and any other very highly evolved angelic Christos energies. So this is that pure white Christos light, and there is going to be a lot of anointing. A lot of anointing and a lot of baptisms. Some of you may have already started going through this initiation process so that you could be that of a gifter of this frequency. So if you've gone through all of that in the last 6 to 8 months, you've become an embodied pillar that now you can gift this frequency onwards. And so this is a part of the current now mission, is actually around the Christos and the purity consciousness, which means we require pure connections, pure Christos connections. This consciousness specifically has been hidden and contained until there was a split in consciousness. There was a very specific reasoning for this, and that is because the individuals that have chosen to descend, that are highly powerful beings, would have mutated this frequency as they have in the past, and it would have been harder to hold and anchor. It is open and we can play with it, yet this frequency is not anchored, and we needed to ensure that the split in consciousness occurred so that we had those that are effectively choosing dissension or not choosing, or those that are still in the tethering point. They're actually in their own separate group, and they have their own assignments. And it's their assignment is kind of like, what are you choosing? That's your assignment. So you have these different sections and split of consciousness that is very purposeful, so that this purity consciousness and this Christos coding for those that are in this high level leadership and initiation point forward are able to access that without it being manipulated and messed up, or being distracted by those that are not choosing. So for individuals like myself, I have had a lot of descended consciousness in my life. I have had a whole soul family that has descended into the underworld. I have no current soul family from the past that have actually moved into, from this incarnation, so this, what was this mission, They've all left my vortex. That wasn't a part of the plan. They've repeated history, that's okay, but there has been a complete dissolving deconstruction. They are not on my timeline. I have absolutely no space for them until there's a shift in the paradigms. And I could no longer be distracted by their dissension aspects, their trickery, their manipulation, their black magic, their blaming, their projecting, their lack of ownership, right? So you may be feeling this within yourself, depending on your level of awareness, depending on how much soul group, soul family you've had. It can show up in many different ways in your family dynamics. And suddenly there's a point where you're like, actually, this is not helpful for anyone. And you can go on your path, and I'm going this way, and only this is allowed in my energy field. So those are the sections you've got. You've got this, you've got the dissension aspect. You've got those that have their own mission around what are you choosing. If you're in a what are you choosing, it's great. This is a great conversation. What are you choosing? What do you really want to live with? And if you're in the dissension, that's also no shame at all. I have information for you. The dissension is look at your demons. Look at where you have caused harm. Look at where you have been wrathful. Look at where you have been unloving. Look beyond the spiritual bypass of your mind and take true accountability. That is the way to God. You cannot bypass where you have forgotten God and acted from a place of separation. You must see, feel, sense, and experience everything that you have created, or surrender it in the full reclamation and the coming to God. But if you are not willing to look at it, how can you surrender it? Okay? That is your mission. Look at the hard stuff. Look at the icky stuff. No more pointing the finger outward. No more they did this to me. This person hurt me. They're demonic. They're doing black magic to me. They're psychically attacking me. If that's in your experience, you are the creator of it. And you are doing exactly what you're saying others are doing to you. You may not see it yet, but you are. So if that is where you're at and you're saying you're not welcome in my field, stop violating me, you're a vampire, that is the perfect mirror for you to take some very real, raw, uncomfortable accountability for what is being experienced, because you are exactly what you speak. All right. So there's that, and then we have the purity consciousness. So the purity consciousness is where I've mostly been placing my focus of attention, because that is my mission. And so I am here to activate, initiate, remember, and become all of that which I am guided to share, whilst also nourishing and nurturing those that are not receiving this, so that we can walk this path together, so we can hold each other's hearts, so that we can remember. And it's all about remembering. It's all about becoming attained within our own self-realization and working together, because that is how we do this. And if we continue to keep the separation and the disconnection and the blame, we are not doing what we came here to do or be. And that is painful. So in this Christos and this new purity mission, there will be new people, there will be new creations, and there is about to be an extreme elevation in creation. So a quantum expression of opportunity, a quantum gifting to the world in a launch of new technologies, new platforms, new experiments, and new creations. So pure creation is going to bring in some very pure creation points, things that have not been done. One of those things for me is a woman initiating men in a quantum multidimensional way, using masculine coding and information. So that hasn't really been a way of of the path, because I will be directly channeling masculine coding frequencies and technologies that have been alchemized into my energy field that I have claimed in the I am, so that I can play this role because there's no one else to do it. And so I am taking on a masculine leadership role as a woman, whilst also being my very true, authentic expression, which is holding the hearts of man to initiate them into the next phases of their journey. And this opens up a lot of other opportunities. So there are, not this specifically, but this energy is opening up a lot of other opportunities. You may have some solid groundwork of the things that you're creating, and now there's a new opportunity of what you're bringing forth. Or maybe it's come forward and you're like, oh, I wasn't ready for this. Is this here now? So there's been an acceleration point, a bringing forward, a clarity, a pathway forward, and a movement and a directive that is being guided now, because the roles are solid to support the creation forward. So with your creation awareness, stay focused on one or two projects. Do not go into ADHD mind. Do not go into overstimulus. Do not allow yourself to get frazzled. Focus on one or two projects. Get very clear, intentional. Take your time to know what they are. Who are the people that need to support you? Are they truly in alignment energetically? Are they here with the sacred yes? Looking at everything that has been spoken about in this video and reflecting, what is it that this intention is? What is my role? What is the role of this creation? What is it here for? Where is it going? Why am I spending and putting my energy and time into this? And allowing for that to be there so that you know that it is effectively unfuckable, right? You're like, I know what this is. This is very clear, pure creation, Christos. It is of truth. Truth is unfuckable with, right? That is what you're looking at with your movements forward and with your teammates that you're moving forward. Is this person an unfuckable person? Absolutely. Fuck yes. Come on, let's go. That's what you're doing in this movement forward. If you're not that, then what are you choosing? If you're over here, I've got someone at the door, which is perfect because hang on. Actually, it might be them doing the joys of transmissions. It might be building, actually. So, Maria Nayatiana, let's do another deep breath. We are coming to a close anyway. So what you want to do is, am I unfuckable with in what I'm creating? Am I unfuckable with in my relationship? Am I unfuckable with my beliefs? If I am not, then there is an awareness around what am I choosing? Where am I at? If I'm in dissension, what is it that I'm not looking at that is making this creation? I need to really do some deep, dark shadow work and take some accountability, ownership, and get really in the mud of who I be, because I can't keep bypassing it. What am I choosing? Am I going to keep getting distracted? Am I going to keep sabotaging myself? And am I going to keep making excuses for my shitty behavior? Am I going to keep saying that it's just that it's my wounding? Am I going to play the victim mentality? And am I going to be like, I don't have enough money? All of those stories that are creating your choice, they don't have room. You got to choose. You either choose to stay in indecision forever and move between ascension, descension, ascension, descension, bouncing, tethering, pain, suffering, or you make a choice and you say, I don't have the answers. I don't know how I'm going to heal myself. I don't know how I'm going to work my path. I don't have the finances, but I'm choosing it anyway. I'm choosing to move into the Christos and the pure creation, clean slate forward mission. And what will that gift me? What will come into my world and my reality if I choose this from a place of a sacred yes? So as you let this sit and simmer, using this full moon to complete all of these aspects and to come into your clean slate, your choice, each step illuminating the light of pure creation and Christos moving forward. I am absolutely honored to be here as an oracle for the 144, the bringers of change and that of the beyond. Enjoy the Christos portal. It will be open indefinitely. And allow yourself to sit in a meditation and see what it is that you can receive from this space. Those angelic beings that are coming in as pillars of support, there is about 15 specific consciousnesses that they will be connecting into to support you in your new role. If you are one of those 15 individuals, I would love to hear in the comments below if you know this. If you know this, not question, because there is so much trickery in this reality that I hear people say, I'm this, I hear I'm got this, I received this message. I'm like, it's not you, I'm sorry. You've been deceived. Stabilize your energy, work on your inner wounding, and then I can tell you and we can help you remember who you actually are, because that's what's important. But if you know that you are this, I would love to hear these angelic Christos unified expressions that have come in to support you in your next steps. And if you are looking at the men's program, that starts soon. That is for the light warriors and the Vikings of Truth. They are very specific energetic archetypes. In total around the world, there is about 397 individuals that have this different energy signature. Grateful to have met some of you already. If you're interested in the men's program, you must have a prerequisite of coming into a point of knowing unconditional love. So it doesn't mean you've attained it, doesn't mean you can hold it, but it means you've experienced and felt the unconditional love of God Source Creator, and that you have started the merging of your inner child. If your inner child is still separate from you and you haven't cultivated that really intimate, vulnerable, true, pure connection that sits within the heart in a man, in that soft tenderness for a child, your own child, then you will not be ready to receive these initiations. They will be too much for you, and we require to do a little bit of individual work in other ways before that. But these men specifically that are ready to really get into the stability of your heart-led leadership is the only way we're creating a new earth, is you got to come into the heart-led leadership before we can open that sacral chakra into the full power of your mission forward. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have an absolutely amazing day. It's great to be back on YouTube. And until next time, Ahava.